Good morning. This is December 11 and we are in section BBA section A and this is Monday. Yesterday we were reading some paragraphs from the essay Computers and the Pursuit of Happiness, and I was talking about the structure of the essay, and I said that the writer begins with a general assumption that we are in information age and there is phase shift, and then he questions this assumption and then poses three questions. Are we in a new age because of computers? Have computers been good or bad for mankind? Will they be good or bad for mankind in future? He raises three questions and he discusses each of these three questions in three sections of the essay. For example, in section 1, he answers first question. How? He says we are not in an information age and computers and internet are not a revolutionary development in human history. In paragraph 3, he gives examples of coal, concrete and steel and says that we needed them during industrial era and we need them even today. So having information does not replace the need of the physical stuff. And in line number 4 in para 3, he presents the central idea that for human happiness we need each other, not technology. What makes people happy is when they meet other people. Then in paragraph 4, he gives an example of information boom. He presents the example of uhaul.com and he says that today we are in the .com era, right? And then he says that though we are in .com era, there is information revolution, but we cannot satisfy our hunger by watching food on YouTube. We cannot feel warm by watching fire on YouTube. We cannot satisfy our desire for love or sex by watching pornography on internet. And he means that virtual reality can never make us happy. What makes us happy is concrete human beings with flesh, bone. Then in paragraph 5, he responds to possible objections to his argument. And he brings three possible objections that people who don't agree with him might raise. The first objection, he says, is that one can say that we are in new age because we today have sophisticated machines to create, store and deliver information. Somebody can say, first objection. Second, he says, no, David Galanter, we are in new age because today we have computer enabled networks that can overcome geographical distances. So we are in a new age. Second objection. Third, someone can say, no, Mr. Galanter, we are in a new age because today we have smart machines that can act intelligently. So he brings these three objections which those people who do not agree with him might come up with. And then he says that there is something in argument. In argument there is something known as concession. My spelling is doubtful, I think it's correct. Concede or acknowledge. In an argument, you make a claim, as Gallanter makes a claim, that we are not in a new age and computers are not anything revolutionary. This is a claim. Then your readers might raise objections to your claim. They might raise objections. As you see here, we have three objections, right? We have machines that can create, store, deliver information. Computers have overcome geographical distance. And we have smart machines. Three objections. So there is a claim and there is objection against the claim. Now this objection is also known as counterclaim. We also call this counterclaim. Now, when you are a speaker, you are delivering a speech in a debate, and you have an opponent who speaks after you, and you imagine that the guy coming after me in this debate might have this objection. Though he hasn't told you so clearly, but you imagine in advance. You in advance imagine that the girl or guy who is going to speak after me might raise these objections possibly. And before he can raise objections, you want to address it already, right? Before they can raise the objection. So you imagine. Now, you bring the objections. Now next, what do you do? There is something as rebuttal or refusal, let's say. Or you counter the objections. You counter the objections. Right? You counter the objections. And when you counter the objections, you can do two things. When you counter objections, one is you reject claims. For example, you can see he does this in this paragraph. Look here. Where it does so, let me show you. Yes, here in para 2, we are not in an information age. We are not in an information age. This is rejection. You can reject the claim, right? Second, you can partially accept a claim, because not every objection is false. Sometimes your opponents may come up with a very true objection which you can't deny. There can be an objection which you can't deny, can't reject. So you have to accept. Third, sometimes the objection is so strong that you cannot say, you cannot negate at all, and you fully accept it. Right? There are three possibilities while dealing with counterclaim. There are three things you do when dealing with counterclaim. Number one, you completely reject. No, that's false. Number two, you partially accept. Okay, this is, I agree, but that I don't agree. Third, you fully accept. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that thing. Now I realize once I hear you. Right? Now look what he does it. Here, I am giving an example of partial acceptance. For example, look here. In this paragraph 5, line number 5, computers have done marvelous deed. This is partial acceptance. He agrees. Yes, no doubt. Computers have done marvelous deed. But in each case, their great deeds are in keeping with the long established patterns of the industrial age. This is the most important line to mark here and understand. Because the argument is making is that computers are not something new. Computers are a continuation of the industrial technology. His argument is that computers are a further development of the old technology. They are not revolutionary as people are thinking. And look what he says here. In each case, their great deeds, means the great deeds done by computers, are, see the line, in keeping with, following. In keeping with means to follow. In keeping with the long established patterns of the industrial era. So if computers have done great things today, they are able to do great things because computers are continuously following the technology that was developed during industrial era. Therefore, computers are not something completely new. They are a growth of the old technology. Now look what he says. Computation today is dusting of snow that makes everything look different on the surface. Look what happens when there is snow. Just imagine if there is a snow in this class, then the things will be covered, right? And you will all see only the white color. There will be a covering. The truth will be hidden. And so when there is snowfall and you see all white snow cover in the ground, you understand that below the snow there is something else also, which is hidden. So what is saying? Computers are at the surface like the snow, and we see their technology, World Wide Web. But we easily forget that below this snow there is old technology on which computers are based. Okay. So in paragraph 5, what does he do? He picks up the objection and he responds with partial acceptance. Then we were reading paragraph 6 yesterday, and what we read in paragraph 6, he answers first objection that we are in new age because we have machines to create, store and deliver information. And he says no, even during the first part of 20th century, we had these technologies. For example, he gives lots of examples. Look, the examples he gives is so many: movies, phonograph, color photography, color printing, electronic transmission of photo, invention of radio, radio network, international radio hookup, newsreel, television. Oh, he gives so many examples. I won't read because I read it yesterday, I guess. Then in paragraph 7, he picks up second objection about the defeat of geography with computers. And how does he answer? He says, particularly in paragraph 8 of the examples, he says that in the industrial era also, there were technologies. For example, railroad. There were railroads through which we could cover large distance with short time. There was Panama Canal. Ships could be used to cover large distance. Then there were railway networks across continents. There were telegraph networks. If you belong to a new era, I remember how in India, by the railway side, along the railway track, you will see poles and on the poles you will see wires, and these wires were telegraph wires for carrying telephone messages, and they will extend throughout the country for thousands of kilometers, right? So telegraph network, then air and phone and highway, radio, TV network, and the internet is just the latest one, not new. So in paragraph 8, he gives examples to reject the idea, the claim that because computers defeated geography, we are in new era. Now in paragraph 9, he answers the third objection. What? That we are in new era because we have smart machines like mobile phones, for example. And he says, no, no, no. Smart machines are nothing new. If you read history, you will find that we already had smart machines almost 50 years before. For example, he says, there was something known as thermostat. I don't know what this is, but I guess this should be something that controls heat in a car or machine. Yes, thermostat or car's electrical system. The electrical system in car is an example of a smart machine like computers. Then, another example, automatic transmission in the cars, automatic gear. Many cars have manual gear, old cars have manual gear, and new cars have automatic gear. You don't have to change the gear. If you increase the speed, the gear changes automatically, right? Then, Norden bomb sight. What is Norden bomb sight? A device used in US military airplanes to help guide bombs. So he gives 3 examples to show that there were smart machines already before computers were invented. Then he says that we had flying machines long before computers came. We had radio and TV long before computers came. We had electricity long before computers came, right? Then in paragraph 10, he says that the problem is we don't know history, and we falsely think that computers are a revolution because we don't read the history of industrial era. We have no knowledge about old technology because we don't read books, and we have this arrogance with this arrogant idea. Then he brings a quotation in paragraph 10 where a writer says that computers are a revolution. And then in paragraph 11, he comments on that quotation. Look what he says. That sort of statement, means the statement that is quoting, that technologists, the quotation is coming from the writer of technology, are fundamentally unserious. So he says that, oh, the guy writing this line is unserious about history of technology. By the way, it is a useful and interesting book, but the author protests too much. So in paragraph 11, he rejects this quotation, saying that this author is exaggerating and he has no knowledge of history. Then in paragraph 12, I think we didn't read paragraph 12, we read up to 11, right? Yes? Right? Let's follow from 12. Computers and the internet have made a revolution in science and engineering. Now this is, look, this is this idea. Partial acceptance. Again, partial acceptance. Computers have made a revolution in science and engineering. Studying computational models of reality can be cheaper and better than studying reality. Look, he gives example. Yes, there is revolution in science and engineering. Today, you don't have to get a real body to dissect and learn medicine, surgery. You can use 3D model in a laptop, and you can use computer-assisted technology to learn how to cut the body parts. Today, you can learn driving a car by sitting on a chair through simulation, using computer models, right? Through game software, right? Those are the actual computer revolutions. The others are mostly potential and are locked up in awe-inspiring iceberg. Now he wrote this essay 21 years before, and he says that there is huge potential of computer technology. And today, when we are reading this essay in this class after 21 years, we agree with him that in the last 20 years, there has been a huge development in computer technology, right? Eliciting admiration and making trouble, the computer revolution is still frozen, latent, waiting to happen. Now, this line is outdated now. Yes, rather will say the computer revolution has already happened. The computer revolution has already happened. You can see this camera on my tripod, how small, tiny the camera size is. And you won't believe the technology that this camera has. 10 years before, I had to carry a big camera, huge camera to use the same technology. You see, the size is shrinking. The size of machines is shrinking. And its capacity is increasing. How? Because of computer technology. Right? Okay, now let's move to paragraph 13. As for the information age, it must have begun at least 100 years ago if it exists at all. Not 100. Let's say information age began 500 years ago in the 15th century when printing press was invented. We can argue. First printing press, I think it's Caxton's printing press, I'm not sure. First printing press was invented in 15th century. And Janga Bahadur Rana brought a printing press to Nepal from London. And this printing press, to my knowledge, was called Gidde press. Right? So because of printing press, one could print books in huge amount, right, and circulate. Are we better informed? Okay. Now look, here is a very important question. Look, today you have Google, right? You can search for anything in Google, right? But look at this question. Are we better informed than we used to be? I doubt it. Look, he says, yes, we have internet. Yes, we have Google search engines. But we are not better informed today. We have information overload. We have information. Knowing a lot of things doesn't mean knowing the right thing. Knowing a lot of things doesn't mean knowing the right thing. Is anyone prepared to assert that the US electorate is better informed today than it was at the time of 1960s? He brings example. Look, today American voters choose bad leaders. We have internet, but why are people voting to bad people? In Nepal, we had elections recently, right? And so many people said, Buddha Neta Haranu Parcha. And look, now the same Buddha Netas are going to be Prime Minister. If Nepalese people were really informed, well informed, why did they vote the old people? So his argument is, acquiring a lot of information using internet technology does not mean that you become intelligent. Collecting information does not make you intelligent. So what makes you intelligent? Reasoning makes you intelligent. Critical thinking makes you intelligent. Pondering makes you intelligent. As earlier writer in the essay, How the Web Destroys, was telling. Read ahead. That our fifth graders are better informed about reading. Look, if we were better informed, why students coming in BBA do not know how to read properly? They don't know how to write. They don't know about history. They don't know mathematics. That our 5th grade teachers are better informed. Why teachers are so poor? They teach wrong things in class to students. Recently, my 5th grade son learned from his English teacher that incredible and incredulous are synonyms. They are not synonyms. If something is incredible, it's excellent. Nothing is like that. There is a program on Discovery Channel called Incredible India. There is a program on Discovery Channel called Incredible India, which means no country is like India. So incredible means something which has no competition. What is incredulous? Can you check the mobile phone? See it. Check the meaning. If you are credulous, check the meaning. If you are credulous, you easily believe people, and one can befool you. If you are credulous, you believe everybody. You believe everything, and people can easily cheat you. If you are incredulous, just opposite. What is incredulous? Somebody tell me. It's just opposite. If you are credulous, you believe everybody, everything. So incredulous means what? Someone tell me. Yeah? Unable to? Okay, believe something. Incredulous, one who doesn't believe others easily. One who does not believe others easily. And this English teacher told his son that both of these words have same meaning. And he is giving example. If Google could make us intelligent, why this teacher doesn't know even this thing? So what is the point here? Information does not make you wise. What makes you wise is thinking about the information. What makes us wise? Thinking. What makes? Thinking. Okay. Now, look what we did. This is section 1, right? In paragraph 1, he answered the question. From paragraph 2 to 13, he developed his argument that we are not in a new information age and computers are not something revolutionary. Right? Now, let's move to paragraph section 2. Have computers been good or bad for mankind since they were invented roughly 50 years ago? So he picks up the second question. Now, I won't explain. I'll give you 15-minute time. In 15 minutes, read from paragraph 14 to 37 silently. Read from paragraph 14 to 37 silently. And look what he says. Read from paragraph 14 to 37 silently. Silently read from paragraph 14 to 37. Quickly, in 15 minutes. Read carefully, sir, and then we'll discuss. Please read sincerely without skipping. I made a mistake earlier. Read up to para 24, not 37. I said 37. Read up to 24. Read section 2 only. Read section 2 only. Read section 2 only. हेर्नुहोस् त मैले पढ्नु भने तपाईँहरू गाउँ पछाडि दुईजना गफर बसिराख्नु भएको छ, हलमा बोलिराख्नु भएको छ। मैले के भने सिन्सियरली पढ्नु भने होइन त, भनेको सुन्नुहुन्न नि, भनेको मान्नुहुन्न नि। कस्तो राम्रो मान्छे तपाईँको। मैले के भने चुपचाप पढ्नुहोस् भने, तर मान्नुहुन्न, भनेको गर्नुहुन्न। तपाईँलाई घमण्ड छ मनमा होइन, बाबुआमाले भने त मान्दिनँ, मैले यो मान्छेले भने किन मान्ने भन्ने होला हो। ड्याड ममले भनेको त मैले मान्दिनँ, सरले भने किन मान्ने भन्ने हुन्छ हो। त्यस्तो हुन्छ। अब किन पढ्नु त, म त पढ्नु भनिरहेको छु नि त। पढ्नु भयो त पढ्नु पऱ्यो नि त, टिचर भनेको कुरो गर्नु पऱ्यो नि त। क्लासमा पढ्न आएपछि यत्रो 10-10 लाख खर्च पढ्न आउने भने नमान्ने, पढ्नु भने गफेर बस्नुहुन्छ। Okay, I've done. I've read. The points that we'll discuss. मलाई क्लासमा विद्यार्थीहरूले भनेको मानिरहेको छैन भन्ने फिल भयो भने मैले तुरुन्तै टेम्पर लुज गर्छु। फेरि बताइदिन्छु ल। म एकदम वाचफुल्ली हेरेर आउँछु तपाईँलाई। हरेकको टाउको आँखा नाक मैले हेर्दै क्लासमा आँखा घुमाइरहेको छु र कतै पनि कुनै कुनामा कुनै विद्यार्थी पढिरहेको छैन, ध्यान दिइरहेको छैन, भनेको मानेको छैन, जे पाइदिए गएर भन्ने फिल भयो भने आई गेट अनइमेजिनेबली एङ्ग्री। मलाई असाध्यै रिस उठ्छ त्यो बेलामा। पहिला पहिला मैले क्लासमा कुर्दिन्थेँ, आजभन्दा 15 वर्ष अगाडि, 20 वर्ष अगाडि। 20 मा मैले के गर्थेँ, झ्याप्प दौडेर जान्थेँ, कान समाउँथेँ, कलर समाउँथेँ र त्यही झापड लगाइदिन्थेँ मैले। पछि मैले के बुझेँ, यस्तो गर्नु हुँदैन, यो राम्रो होइन, फिजिकल्ली विद्यालय टच गर्नु हुँदैन भन्ने बुझेँ, कुट्नु हुँदैन भन्ने बुझेँ, पिट्नु हुँदैन भन्ने बुझेँ, गाली गर्नु हुँदैन भन्ने बुझेँ। विद्यार्थीले मन पराउँदैन नि त, त्यो बानी हट्दै गयो, राइट। तर रिस त उठ्छ नि त भनेर नमान्दाखेरि, रिस उठ्दैन। तिमी टिचर भएर हेर त, तिमी यहाँ पढाउन बस त, अनि मैले त्यहाँ भनेको मानेन भने तिमी के गर्छौ त अनि, राइट। मैले मोटिभेट गर्नुपर्छ, आई एग्री, आई सुड मोटिभेट। तर एज अ टिचर तिमी यत्रो बच्चा 5 क्लासको बच्चा त होइन क्यान्डी खुवाउनु पर्ने कुनै कुरा गराउनलाई। तिमी त 18-19 वर्षको 12 क्लास पास गरेर पढ्न आएको विद्यार्थी हो नि त। टिचरले यो कुरा पढ त भनेपछि त पढिदिनु पऱ्यो नि त। र जब तिमीले त्यो फलो गर्दैनौ नि, मलाई असाध्यै रिस उठ्छ। बुझ्यौ मेरो कुरा? Okay, let's discuss now. So what he does in section 2, he raises the second question, right? What is the question? Have computers been good or bad for mankind since they were invented roughly 50 years ago? And you see, this time he does not give direct answer, as it is in section 1. In section 1 he says no directly. Here he doesn't say no directly. Look what he says. He says that other things being equal. In economics, there is a theory, there is an idea. Economics पढ्नु भयो भने एकदमै चल्ने थियो गयो. Other things being equal, this law will work भन्छ. कुनै पनि ल इकोनोमिक्समा काम गर्नलाई सर्टेन कन्डिसन मिट हुनुपर्छ भन्छ. इकोनोमिक्स पढ्नु छ नि. कुनै पनि इकोनोमिक ल इफेक्टिभ हुनलाई there has to be some conditions met. त्यसलाई other things being equal भन्छ. अब के भन्छ? Look what he uses. He used two words. Wealth threshold and information. Let's try to understand what he's trying to say. See, I am standing at the threshold. This is threshold. Now I am in the class. Now I am outside the class. So threshold is a point that makes a difference in anything. One can say 60 ml is your threshold. 60 ml सम्म खाना हुन्छ भनेको. त्यसपछि खायो भने बोलाउँछौ भनेको. नखानु भनेको. Right? Now what is wealth threshold? In economics, we have a law known as the law of marginal utility. अब थुप्रै मान्छेलाई हाई गर्नु क्लासमा बिहामा मलाई अचम्म लाग्छ हौ. के भाइले हाई गरिरहेको पछाडि नाम मलाई थाहा भएन. मलाई हाई गर्नुहुन्छ. मलाई अरू के लाग्छ भने बिहान बिहानै पढ्न आउनुहुन्छ हैन. अहिले तपाईहरु कति घण्टा सुत्नुहुन्न के हुन्छ फर्स्ट पिरियडमै तपाईँ हाई गरिराख्नुहुन्छ क्लासमा चाहिँ. तपाईको स्वास्थ्य राम्रो नभएको हो कि हेल्थ राम्रो नभएको हो कि रातभरि तपाईँ जागिर खाएको हो कि कतै कुनै काम. एकजना भाइ थिए पहिला मैले बीबीए पढाउँथेँ अनि त्यो सर्भिङ माइन्ड्स भन्नेमा काम गर्थेँ. त्यो रातिमा अमेरिकामा टाटाको काम गर्छ नि यहाँ बसेर. अनि दिनभरि बिचारा बीबीए पढ्ने 10 to 5 बीबीए पढ्ने 10 to 5 पढ्थ्यो बेलामा. अनि 5 बजे घर गएर खाएपछि 7 बजे अफिस जाने काम गर्ने राति. अनि 7 बजे राति अफिस गएको मान्छे बिहान 5 बजे बल्ल आउने कि रातभरि काम गर्ने. अनि क्लासमा बिचारा हाई गर्ने सुत्ने तर मेहनती. अहिले उ चाहिँ मेडिसिटी अस्पताल छ नि त्यसको मार्केटिङ म्यानेजर छ. एकदमै ब्रिलियन्ट बच्चा साह्रै मेहनती. 2003 मा बीबीए पास गरेको. कस्तो मेहनत. दिनभरि बीबीए पढ्ने अनि रातभरि जागिर खाने अनलाइनमा बीबीए को फी तिर्नलाई. राति कमाएर बिहा तपाईले पनि डेढ मैले तिर्नु भएको छ त. अनि यस्तो जे पाइ त्यही गर्दै हिँड्नु भएको छ त. माफ गर्नु होला पढ्नु भएन भन्नु खोजेको हो. तर त्यो भाइ चाहिँ उसको प्यारेन्टले अफोर्ड गर्न नसक्ने कि बीबीए पढ्नलाई. म थिएँ नि त्यो बेला 3 लाख रुपियाँ फी थियो. अनि 3 लाख रुपियाँ तिर्नलाई उसले दिनभरि क्लासमा आएर पढ्ने. साँझ चाहिँ 7 बजेपछि रातिको रिसिभमा काम गर्ने. रातभरि काम गर्ने दिनभरि पढ्ने. तर कहिले पनि क्लासमा चाहिँ उसलाई मैले अल्छी देखिनँ कि साह्रै. अहिले हेर्नुहोस् त राम्रो अस्पताल म्यानेजर छ त्यहाँ राम्रो कमाइ छ. हि इज भेरी फाइन. त्यस कारण क्लासमा हाई नगर्नुहोस् के. बरु नुहाएर आउनुहोस् न बाहिर गएर. टाउकोमा पानी हालेर आउनुहोस् बाहिर गएर. बाथरुम भएर गएर नुहाएर आउनुहोस् होइन. हाई गर्ने आँखा मिच्ने सुत्ने गऱ्यो भने कसरी पढाउने. यो त क्लासरुम हो नि रेस्टरुम हो र. यो त क्लासरुम हो नि तपाईँको सोफा हो घरको. सुतेर मस्त सुतिरहनु तपाईँ. कमसेकम टिचरलाई हामी फ्रेस छौँ भन्ने इम्प्रेसन दिनुहोस्. मैले रोगीलाई पढाउन आएको हो. म क्लासमा रोगीहरूलाई पढाउन आएको त होइन नि. तपाईँ त 18 वर्षको हुनुहुन्छ 19 वर्षको हुनुहुन्छ. यो त सबभन्दा हेल्दी हुने एज हो नि हो कि होइन. अनि यही उमेरमा तपाईँ चाहिँ अब यस्तो इम्प्रेसन दिनुहुन्छ पढाइरहेको छ हाई गर्नुहुन्छ. आई डोन्ट लाइक इट. अलिक टाँटो हुनुहोस्. ठाडो कान पारेर सुन्नुहोस्. ठुलो आँखाले हेर्नुहोस् सुन्नुहोस् होइन. यस्तो लेथार्जिक भएर बस्नुहुन्छ शरीरमा हड्डी नबस्दै क्लासमा बस्दाखेरि पनि कसरी बस्नुहुन्छ. हड्डी नबस्दै बस्नुहुन्छ कि त्यो गाउँको पिठो मुछेर राखे जस्तो. त्यस्तो नगर्नु न. आई हेभ ब्याड इम्प्रेसन के. किन पढाउनै मन लाग्दैन. मलाई पनि त क्लासमा आएपछि आई वान्ट टु फिल गुड नै. जस्तो तपाईँले गुड फिल गर्न चाहनुहुन्छ नि त टिचर आए पछाडि होइन, कोही सर आएपछि घिन लाग्यो भने यो सर भन्ने भए त कसरी हुन्छ, सोध्नु नि पर्दैन। यसो आँखा लगाएर हुन्छ, कोही हाई गर्नुहुन्छ, कोही आँखा मिच्नुहुन्छ, कोही के गर्नुहुन्छ, मलाई रमाइलो लाग्छ कि। सो हि टक्स अबाउट अवश्य के भने तपाईँको एउटा हाईले कति डिस्ट्रेक्सन भइसक्यो मलाई। हि टक्स अबाउट wealth threshold, and his point is that money can increase our happiness to a certain extent. To a certain extent. After that, what you need is not money, but men, action like human being. ल तपाईँले किङ साइजको बेड किन्नुभयो, 10 लाख रुपियाँको बेड किन्नुभयो, एकछिन कल्पना गर्नुहोस्, तपाईँको बेड कति लाखको, 1 मिलियनको बेड किन्नुभयो, ठिक छ। अब त्यसमा तपाईँले 1 बिलियन रुपिस ओछ्याउनु भयो, त्यहाँ नोटै नोट छोड्नुभयो कि पुरै 1 मिलियनको बेड किन्नुभयो 10 लाखको, अनि 1 बिलियन 1 अर्ब भयो होइन, 1 बिलियन ओछ्याउनु भयो र तपाईँ त्यहाँ सिङ्गल सुत्नुभयो लाइफ लङ। राति सुत्दाखेरि यता बिउजो कोही पनि छैन, यता बिउजो कोही पनि छैन, तपाईँ स्पाउस छैन, पार्टनर छैन। अब त्यो तपाईँ त 10 लाखको खाटमा 1 अर्ब रुपियाँ ओछ्याएर सुत्या हो नि, तपाईँलाई ह्याप्पिनेस हुन्छ? हुनुपर्ने हो नि त, 1 अर्ब छ नि त त्यहाँ। तपाईँलाई के चाहियो? पार्टनर चाहियो आडमा। पार्टनर को? रोबोट होइन, मान्छे हो नि। पार्टनर को हुनसक्छ? मान्छे चाहियो। द पोइन्ट हि इज मेकिङ इज द्याट मनी or information can increase your happiness to a certain extent, but after that what you need in life is not wealth but other human beings. What you need in life is not wealth but other human beings. And he says that in next paragraph, for example, if you check paragraph 17, paragraph 17. In or before I go to 17, let me show you something in paragraph 16. Look, once you are over the threshold, the rate of change matters. Then you stabilize. Look, तपाईँ त्यो इकोनोमिक्स पढ्नुहुन्छ नि, 6वटा सुन्तला छ, तपाईँ साह्रै भोक लागेको छ, फर्स्ट सुन्तला खानुभयो भने अर्को खान मन लाग्छ, सेकेन्ड खाँदा पनि अझै खाउँ जस्तो लाग्छ, थर्ड खाएपछि अर्को खान त्यति मन लाग्दैन, फोर्थ खायो भने अब नखाउँ क्यारे जस्तो हुन्छ, फिफ्थ खाएपछि डकार्नुहुन्छ, भयो पुग्यो भन्नुहुन्छ, अनि छैटौँ खायो भने बान्ता गर्न बेर लाग्दैन। बढी भयो नि त, यो त पढ्नुभयो नि इकोनोमिक्समा। यसले के देखाउँछ? एभ्री इन्क्रिज्ड इनपुट has larger output in the beginning, but at one point increased input has equal output, not larger. बराबर हुन्छ नि, इनपुट 5 आउटपुट 5 हुन्छ नि त, यो लेभल पुगेपछि त्यो थ्रेसहोल्ड हो। थ्रेसहोल्ड के हो? थ्रेसहोल्ड भने के हो? जब इनपुट 5 हाल्यो इन्डस्ट्रीमा, आउटपुट पनि 5 मात्रै भयो कि, अब त फाइदा भएन नि त, प्रफिट भएन नि त, इनपुट 5 आउटपुट त 15 हुनुपर्छ नि त, होइन? थाहा छ यो कुरा त। अब त्यसपछि पनि इनपुट हाल्यो भने के हुन्छ? इनपुट 6 आउटपुट 4 हुन्छ क्या। अब के भयो त? लस भयो नि अब, राइट? सो थ्रेसहोल्ड भन्ने के रहेछ? when input and output become equal. त्यसपछि increasing input does not matter because it does not contribute in output. यो भने के हो? तपाईले 1 करोड कमाउने बेलासम्म तपाईलाई पैसा चाहियो, कार किन्नु, सबै भयो, कार भयो, घर पनि भयो। अब के चाहियो? ह्युमन बिइङ चाहियो भने हो कि। Ultimately you need a human being. This lesson is telling you that what we need, a whole part ko saar ke ho, happiness is in human beings. not in technology. ल घरमा तपाईले फुर्सद पाउनुभयो र इन्ट्रेस्ट लाग्यो भने सेक्सन 3 पनि पढ्नु होला है त 25 to 37 अनि भोलि क्लासमा हामी यसो गरौँ भोलि क्लासमा मैले इन्फर्म गर्छु ल तपाईले पढ्नुस् आफै मैले युट्युबमा चाहिँ अनलाइन क्लासमा यो पाठ पढाएको भिडियो हालिसकेको छु अनि बीबीएस पनि पढाइसकेँ त्यो पनि आज बेलुका हालिदिन्छु युट्युबमा गएर चाहिन्छ भने भिडियो पनि हेर्नुहोस् र भोलि क्लासमा आउँदाखेरि के गर्नु भन्दाखेरि तपाईँ क्लासमा आउँदा भोलि प्रेजेन्टेसन गर्न रेडी भएर आउनुहोस् र म ऱ्यान्डमली क्लास सुरुमै मैले पढाउँदिनँ ऱ्यान्डमली मैले कसैलाई कल गर्छु आऊ प्रेजेन्ट गर भनेर अनि म प्रिपेरेसन नभन्नु होला ओके सो टुमोरो बाँकी पाठ मैले पढाउँदिनँ तपाईँ सबैजना चाहिँ यो पाठ पढेर भिडियो हेरेर बुझेर रेडी भएर आउनुहोस् एन्ड आई विल कल यु फर प्रेजेन्टेसन अनि त्यसपछि विल मुभ टु नेक्स्ट अपोजिङ भ्यू युट्युबमा अपोजिङ भ्यू पनि छ सबै छ मैले क्या छ युट्युबमा चाहिँ त्यो फाइलको नाममा चाहिँ एसेको नाम छ कि जुन एसे मैले पढाएको छु नि त्यो एसेको नाम छ अनि जुन प्याराग्राफ पढाएको त्यो प्याराग्राफ पनि लेखाएको छ पार्ट 1 पार्ट 2 लेखाएको छ कि त्यो सर्च गर्नुहोस् हेरेर आउनुहोस् है त थ्याङ्क यू